I'm late. I'm late. But as they say, better late than never. I just want to come on here and we're gonna chop it up. You can call in line 313-650-1077. We talk all things NMT, all things business. You know, that's where I'm at as far as this live go. And we're gonna talk about have a free webinar, five five step webinar on how to get started in the NMT business. So we'll be rolling that out within the next week. And besides that, we're gonna have a call in. This is the first call in show that we're holding. So if you have questions, you just want to shoot the shit, shoot the breeze, call that number and we can get on the line and answer some questions. But for the most part, I want, for my audience, my family, YouTube family to know we are holding a free webinar. I don't know how I'm going to do it. I'm going to drop the link or email me at NEMT University. This is bad. So I got to get a better system where I can hear you better or you can hear me better. We did have our first caller, but unfortunately, due to my technical difficulties, he couldn't hardly hear me, so I can answer that question. But I'm going to answer the question right here on live, so you'll know what I'm talking about. On the line, yeah, hello. It must just be my phone. It has to be my phone. Yeah, I'm here. God dog it. Okay, so I'm gonna answer that question. So, what do they do? How do they go about, um, checking your driving record? So, what what the industry does is they do a nationwide, check on, basically criminal history, right? Um, that may include, what I'm saying, your driving record because they don't want you to have no vehicular homicide or anything like that. So, that's the extent of the, I guess, the background check that they're going to do. They're not going to do anything as far as like, okay, you got speed tickets or impeding traffic or, I'm saying, anything, I'm saying, remotely that's not, directly directly involving harm to a person. So you don't have to worry about that aspect. I'm saying? Just regular, I'm saying, driving thing. You may have a drunk driving from, we'll say 15, 20 years ago. Now, they may, take that in consideration, but what I can say about that is um, there's a way that you can, if they deny you, that you can submit an appeal. And the appeal, you state what the problem was back in the days and how you reformed yourself and why would you be a good candidate for um, being able to be a non-emergency medical transportation owner. So what I can say is there's a couple ways that you can go about, what I'm saying, that situation, um, dealing with whatever, traffic issues that you may have. So depending on your situation, we can just, have some type of conversation so I can give you some guidance on what you can or cannot do if that may be the scenario. Now, from what I was understanding from your question is, what how do they go about, checking your driving record? That's basically how they do it. You know what I'm saying? When they do their, you know, nationwide. background check. The nationwide background check is going to basically check everything when it comes to traffic and criminal cases. And so if you don't have nothing that's really crazy um, on your record, you don't have to worry about it. Now, if you have multiple DUIs or DWIs, and you won't be a candidate for non-emergency medical transportation because you're gonna be transporting people, right? And when you're transporting people, basically they want, I guess, to have the most upstanding, as they say, citizens to be able to, transport people. And then if you do have that on your criminal record, it also may be a problem with you getting insurance. Your insurance might be your commercial vehicle insurance might be a little bit higher than others because of that. So if I would tell you, if you were asking me, what I'm saying, would it be a good idea still to pursue it? I would say still pursue, what I'm saying, getting your transportation business, right? Because um, if you don't attempt to try, you'll never know, what I'm saying, what will be the reason for them saying yay or nay. So I say still try if you did have something on your criminal record, right? Um, but yeah, that's how they go about doing it. It's basically like an FBI check. You go through the FBI system, um, and it's a nationwide check. So that was a good question. I get that question quite frequently. But to answer that, yes, they do it like a nationwide check, just to see if you have anything pending in any other states, any warrants, um, and most importantly, what I'm saying, how I would say, drunk driving and all those type of things, they're really harsh on those type of offenses. But yeah, let me put in the chat. I don't know how this goes. I want to have you guys come to the free webinar. Now, if you would follow me from TikTok, I used to do this on TikTok every single day, Monday through Friday for like 2 hours. But now I condense it down to we're gonna have a free 60-minute webinar, but it's gonna be more informational. We have more information in there, jam packed, and it's gonna be 5 steps. And what I want you to do is, I don't know because I don't know how to. Yeah, I don't know how to put anything in the chat because I'm new to this live situation. I'm new to this live situation. I'm trying to get, what I'm saying, things lined up where it's it's going to be helpful for everybody that, come to my channel and want to learn about how to start this private transportation business because it's very beneficial, I'm talking about when it comes to um, making money, you know, meet a lot of good people, what I'm saying? It's all about networking. Uh, I can tell you I met a lot of good people over the years in this industry, and still can call them to this day, if I need anything, if they have any other type of services that they offer, or they know somebody that knows somebody that knows somebody that I may need, what I'm saying, maybe vehicle repair or something like that, or whatever the case may be. Um, like say for instance, I was on talking to a mentee yesterday, and they need to purchase. They want to purchase a wheelchair accessible van and uh, stretcher van, and they're based out of Florida. So what I do, I have a couple of resources down in Florida. So I sent them resources, those direct contacts, so they can um, find them a nice used uh, wheelchair accessible vehicle, as well as a stretcher van. You know, so that's the importance of, I guess, being in any type of business, but networking is one of them things that I would say always always um, make sure that you do. So the reason for this live is So I'm gonna have it better next time. But the reason for this live today is just to test out and see how this goes and see how this calling in system works. I couldn't get, uh, I believe his name is Martellus. He couldn't hear me that well, so next time I will have this, set up a little bit better where the phone system is directly linked to the YouTube, however that goes, and get my son to work that out. But I want you guys, I want you all to know, what I'm saying, the key component to anything that you do as far as uh, the NEMT business is market research. Market research, market research, market research. Market research entails, just like that question that he was just asking me, um, what type of what type of background check do they do on your driving record? Well, based off the state that Martellus is in, or I believe that was Martellus, I'm not sure, but based off the what I'm saying, the state that he was in, you know, it would tell you like what you can and cannot do as far as being able to apply or being granted the opportunity. Yeah, we're trying to say the opportunity to start a business, non-emergency medical transportation business or private transportation business. That's where the market research can go in. I know I get it. Some of this shit can be, saying super. You gotta do a lot of research. A lot of people aren't researchers, and I get it because where the fuck am I going to look? How where do I start at? You know. And see, I had an upper hand because I worked for a medical transportation company when I first came home. So I basically had a upper hand in being able to work those. I believe it was like first time was 2 years, and next time was total of 3 years, from 2016 to 2019. You know, so I had the opportunity already to know where to start and how this go. And most other people don't have that same, what I'm saying, opportunity. Reason being why you have NMT University on YouTube, because I want to give somebody a fresh start or starting point to getting information, because I didn't have I had a starting point, but this information wasn't readily available like on YouTube back in them days. If it was, I wasn't privy to it, so I wasn't privy to that information. And so since I do have some information to share based off my experience, I thought it would be right to come bring it to YouTube to help other people that are interested in starting maybe a private transportation company. So that's why I'm saying, 10, the number one step in all of this would be uh, market research. I'm not going to ever stray away from that, because this is where you get this is where you get a lot of your answers from. How you doing, Marta? How are you doing? Um, Market research is, I'm telling you, it's like the lifeline of your business, because it will give you the places where you need to go to get information. It'll also give you some of the steps that you may think about later on down the line, like your MPI and all of that. You'll get that information in the beginning because you did your research. Do I have to have a MPI number doing private pay? Well, the answer technically is no, because private pay is basically you directly corresponding between you and a private practice, meaning medical facility or whatever. Y'all directly contracting with each other. So technically, you don't have to have the MPI number. But guess what? If you want to get paid with Medicaid and things like that, then what? What am I gonna have to have? I'm gonna have to have my MPI number, my National Provider Identifier number, right, from CMS.gov, right? So, and I always tell people, even if you plan on doing private pay, just go get your MPI number anyways, so you can have it in your back pocket. So just in case things get slow with your business, or you may lose a contract or whatever the case may be, Then you can go ahead and say, hey, look, let me go partner with these brokers so I can still, you know what I'm saying, get paid and have my bills taken care of. But, you know what I'm saying, I'm not going to get paid the same amount because you know how brokers are. Brokers are here to make, I ain't going to say make you broker. I ain't going to say that, but they are not, they're not the ones that's going to, you know what I'm saying, make you all the way rich. But since you have that, I guess that relationship, they are still, you know what I'm saying, get you clients and things like that for you to get paid. So that, like I said, that's the important. That is why it's important to do your market research. And then also, you can when you do your market research. Another thing about market research is, say for instance, you were thinking about getting a wheelchair accessible vehicle, right? But you only got enough money for a regular Ford or a sedan or something like that. Well, why don't you just start off with a, you know what I'm saying, whatever you have right now, which is your personal vehicle. Start with your personal vehicle. Build that business up from the ground up, we'll say for like 4 or 5 months, right? And maybe during that 4 or 5 months that you're transporting and doing, you know what I'm saying, private contracts and things like that, then you'll upgrade yourself to a wheelchair accessible vehicle. But then at the same time, you're researching how much is it going to cost for this wheelchair accessible vehicle. Let me give you an example. A used wheelchair acceptable vehicle, we say like a 2015, can range from anywhere from like $7,000 all the way up to like we would say $23,000. So now that you know that, then you can like filter it down to, okay, I only wanted to deal with like a Toyota Sienna or something like that, right? Um, and this is the base point for that particular vehicle. So now I got my eyes set on that particular vehicle. Now, how would I now? Which way do I want to go about doing it? Do I want to pay all cash, or do they offer financing? That's part of your market research. You see, you already got that out the way, so you know either way it go. I got may come out of pocket, maybe $7,000 up to $15,000. We'll just say 7 to 15, or I can get finance for this particular vehicle, put my little down payment down of $1,000, and then we'll pay a car note or a vehicle note every month. And then if we're paying a vehicle note every month, then we got to know that we got to get out here and grind because we got to pay insurance and a vehicle note. So now this vehicle has to always constantly be on the road because we got to pay bills. On top of taking care of our everyday, you know what I'm saying, living expenses. You may not want to take a salary or anything when you first starting off. That's another thing that you can be doing when you're, you know what I'm saying, starting this process, right? Um, you might want to start stacking the money and then start paying yourself later on. That's all what your approach could be later on when you are not later on, but in the beginning when you're doing your market research. You can all have this stuff mapped out. You know what I'm talking about? So the reason why if you go on my channel or anybody else's channel, hopefully, you know what I'm saying, they're telling you the importance of doing your market research because this can prevent you from going through a lot of loopholes later on in this journey of the process. So I'm in the process of getting my NMT in Virginia. Okay, what up though, Virginia? I'm going to begin with ambulatory vehicle. Good, good. I like that. So the commercial insurance is so much. It is. So uh, one moment. You're on the call on the call with Dante. The commercial insurance is so much. Do I need commercial insurance for this right now? Yes, you do. So, especially in Virginia, yes, you have to have commercial insurance in order to transport people. You're on the call with Dante. I'm sorry, chat. So look, all my YouTube family. Um, as I see the phone system, I don't have it all the way set up right, unfortunately. So even though this is a call in, you can't hear me. I can hear you talking, but you can't hear my response. Reason being is I basically don't have the system directly hooked up. So I apologize, but this was a test run. This is first the first show 000. This is a pilot show or whatever you want to call it. Um, but on the next one, which is next Wednesday, we will have it more. Uh, we have it more structured. So at this point, if you have got questions, we can do the questions in the chat, and I'll answer the questions in the chat. Because when you call on the line, you're not hearing me. So unfortunately, I can't give you any information because you can't hear me. Now we'll do it on the chat though. You know. But yeah, y'all, you're more than welcome. You are more than welcome. So um, I like that idea. Set apart for you. I really like that idea. Starting off with ambulatory because for one, I'm saying, it saves you money. Like I was just saying in the beginning, um, you can build up to that wheelchair accessible vehicle, and when it's that time, when it's that time. But right now, I would say focus on your ambulatory, building up, what I'm saying, all the clients you can get. But at the same time, find you a vehicle that you believe that you want, and the price point uh, it's going to cost, and then um, if they offer, financing, because majority of these companies out here, they offer financing. So I would say, figure out if they got financing. If so, then consider going that route as well. There's two different ways that you can go about doing it. But that's a great idea. That's how I started. That's how a lot of people started that way. Don't come from having a lot of money, saved up and things. We just want to get started. You know. And you starting at the base, I believe that'll work out for you well. And Virginia is a great market, though. I don't know what part of Virginia you're in. I had a client out there. Uh, we in 2025. That was 2022, and they're doing well. No, that was West Virginia. Yeah, I think that was West Virginia. So Virginia requires you to put a notice in the paper that. So what you mean by that is they require you to put a notice in the paper that you are a non-emergency medical transportation business, or explain that to me. You mean Danville? Okay. No, I didn't know that. So I'm glad you said that because, th- okay, I'm glad you said that. So that'll give me. Um, I'm gonna do some research on that. I'm gonna write an article. I don't know if you're part of my private newsletter community, which is nmtuniversity.substack.com. And what we do is we try to put newsletters out weekly, and also have videos and workshops and things like that. Um, haven't did the workshop yet, but um, if you're part of that community, what I'm saying is I'm going to do some research on it. And I'm going to put a article out about that, so more people will be aware of that information, because that is very important. Because if you have to do that, I don't know if it costs to put anything in the newspaper. Or if you're in Michigan, where I'm at, it costs, to place a notice. But I'm curious, what is Marta? You in Washington? Okay. So I'm curious, set apart for you, what exactly does the notice have to entail? What is the body of the context that has to be, you know, on that notice? I'm just curious. So I understand why, in a way, why they're, what I'm saying, asking providers to do this. So I want to know, like, what do they have, like, some type of criteria of, what they want put in there, such as um, ABC um, transportation care is based out of, Danville, and we have one ambulatory vehicle and one wheelchair accessible vehicle. and we're established in 2025. You know, what exactly are they asking for the notice to be? What should be in the notice? Yeah, that's something I would like to know. But it's a beautiful day out here. I don't know where everybody else is from. Well, I applied for common carrier over irregular routes with serving cities and counties. It has to be published in the paper. Okay. Okay. Okay, that's interesting. Yeah, that's interesting. So have you gone through that process yet? Of publishing it in the paper and getting. Ah, I get it. I get it. So there's something else that happened. Um, Not happened, but um, I don't know if you guys are familiar, but I have a also have a broker's license. So in the trucking industry, you can be, it can be a carrier, a trucker,